We remember Team Dai Gurren as one of anime, or even fiction's, strongest group of fighters. I've already assessed the powers of Yoko and Viral, but there's someone whose badassery is often underestimated. One of Team Dai Gurren's flagship members, Kittan Bachika. Time to look at the series and evaluate his strengths and abilities. How strong is Kittan? Kittan's first appearance is in episode 4, where he's revealed as an expert beastman hunter and the only male member of the Black siblings. He and his sisters run into Team Gurren, and though Kittan and Kamina feud at first, he's inspired to follow in Kamina's brazen footsteps and steal a gunman of his own, becoming one of Team Dai Gurren's lead pilots, and further going on to become a hero in the war against the anti-spirals by making the ultimate sacrifice. Unlike Yoko and Viral, Kittan doesn't have too many physical feats for us to calculate. We can scale his durability to Yoko, as he was also seen in Dai Gurren after the explosion in episode 12, putting him in that 7 to 15 kiloton range. Episode 11 gives a good idea of his speed, as he was able to dodge automatic gunfire, putting him at subsonic speeds. And in the same episode, he and the others are physically able to dispatch the entire crew. In episode 4, he's also shown being surprisingly crafty, making an assortment of bombs and tricks to fight beastmen and gunmen. His Warble Runner is a fast and reliable steed. It's likely comparable in speed to a horse, so somewhere between 40 to 60 miles per hour. He uses oil bombs, which are strong enough to knock Gurren and the 16-face gunmen around. They aren't as strong, but we can compare them to Enki's shoulder rockets, meaning each one is probably at least a few tons of TNT. Strength-wise, we actually get a good idea how tough he is from Parallel Works 9. He's able to pry open King Kittan's cockpit with just his bare arms, and he knocks down this huge beastman with simply a kick. Even just comparing him to Yoko, he should be able to easily bust down stone walls and potentially even bust through steel. And like an absolute badass, he wields a shotgun with spiral shells, and the balls to approach the enemy with just that. There is more, but I'll get to that soon. As one of Team Dai Gurren's best mecha pilots, he is of course best utilized in his gunmen, and King Kittan is one of the strongest. In general, it is pretty safe to compare King Kittan to pre-timeskip Gurren Lagann. Speed-wise, it isn't quite as fast, as it is needed a boost to leave the atmosphere, but it should be moving at least hypersonic speeds, somewhere between 3,000 to 7,000 miles per hour. Its durability should also be comparable. We don't see King Kittan getting damaged much in the show, as Kittan and his gunmen aren't quite often the focus. We do know that it isn't waterproof, can take falling from very large distances, and has tanked many different explosions, including from the gunmen it's defeated. In the movies, it withstood Gember's press, which damaged Gurren in the show. It's also withstood a barrage of Dai Gunzen's cannon fire, protecting Yoko and the others. King Kittan is an upgraded mecha like Gurren, so it makes sense that it's more durable than base models. So at the very least, it should be able to withstand kilotons of TNT. Using Kittan's stinger, it can rip apart a gunman with just its head, meaning it is pretty damn strong. In fact, we should be able to compare it to Enkidu in terms of physical power, which, as stated last time, could lift 100,000 tons. By combining with his sister's mechs, it can form King Kittan Deluxe, destroying enemy gunmen with ease. The only weapon King Kittan is often seen using is its lance. It gets a few different versions, whether it be from King Kittan Deluxe or the Spiral Lance in the second half. In fact, most of King Kittan's feats are in the second arc of the show, and that's where things really get interesting. It's able to output enough damage to defeat Mugen, which are mecha created by the anti-spirals that possess enough energy internally to destroy an entire city block, as seen in episode 17. And in episode 21, it's able to defeat dozens of them with the upgraded lance. So its power output should perhaps be as large as Kamina City, probably even more so. It's shown to be a more capable mecha than the Grauperls, which are based off Gurren Lagann. This is specifically because King Kittan and other gunmen like it are fueled by spiral power, when the Grauperls aren't, meaning we can scale King Kittan and later iterations further to Kittan's spiral power, so any scaling to Enkidu or other mecha piloted by beastmen can easily be outdone. So essentially, all of Enki's stats outside of the Tengen Toppa version can be applied to King Kittan. All the 4 generals' gunmen would also be inferior to King Kittan at this point, so we can say its durability is greater than Seiron's, which can easily withstand the water pressure of the bottom of the ocean. But it gets even crazier. Later, it gets an upgrade where King Kittan itself pilots another mecha, Space King Kittan, a gigantic gunman comparable in power to Arc Gurren Lagann, which was able to punch a Mugen through space-time to the farthest points of the universe. It continues to destroy several anti-spiral spaceships left and right, even defeating gigantic ones that pose a threat to Arc Gurren Lagann. Though it never gets a chance to use it, Space King Kittan is equipped with spiral missiles capable of destroying the Death Spiral machine. This machine has enough power to manipulate space itself, and create a huge energy field that could envelop Arc Gurren Lagann and the entirety of the dead space ocean. Space King Kittan is unable to take the pressure and ultimately explodes, but King Kittan survives. King Kittan is able to take the pressure of dead space, use its Giga Drill, and save Team Dai Gurren. Kittan gives the ultimate sacrifice, becoming a great hero of the anti-spiral war arc. And yet, this is where things get truly interesting, because in his last moments, Kittan had fully awakened spiral power, which we can tell by his eyes. We've only ever seen this on 3 people, Simone later in life, Kittan, and Lord Genome. So we can compare Kittan in this moment to Lord Genome. He had so much spiral power, he could pilot the huge Teplin gunman, Dekabutsu, by himself, live for hundreds of years without aging, and defeated Lagann in hand-to-hand combat. To call Lord Genome simply human is underestimating him. He had enough spiral power to rival heaven itself, creating life with the Beastmen and briefly withstanding the attack of Simone's core drill. At Lord Genome's peak, he was multi-universal, converting energy created by Grozanbama's Infinity Big Bang Storm, which had the same power as the creation of the universe, into pure spiral power. He was able to defeat the entire army of spiral beings during the first war against the anti-spirals by himself. Just his mere presence could manipulate reality with the sheer amount of spiral power he possessed. Meaning, all of these are things Kittan should be able to do in this moment, due to his fully awakened spiral power. If he had survived, which honestly he could have if he'd known how to use spiral power properly, he would have been one of the most powerful beings in the universe. And this means his mecha, King Kittan, can scale to him, like I said before, putting Kittan and King Kittan at a universal level at least, and a multi-universal level at most. King Kittan's Giga Drill break had more energy than the Death Spiral machine, which was the combined power of thousands of spiral beings defeated in battle over the course of millennia. The anti-spirals should be thankful they never had to truly face him in battle. And keep in mind, this isn't even the peak of what spiral power can do. Okay, let's summarize, because that was a lot of words. Kittan is physically comparable to Yoko and Viral, able to survive huge explosions worth 7 to 15 kilotons. He always has the right tool for the job, whether it be bombs or shotguns. In King Kittan, he scales to pre-time skip Gurren Lagann, moving at hypersonic speeds, lifting over 100,000 tons, and able to output enough energy to probably destroy continents. Kittan at his peak, in his final moments, scales to Lord Genome due to his fully awakened spiral power. His stats should be at least universal, putting out more energy than the Death Spiral machine, which had more power than thousands of spiral warriors combined, and withstanding the massive torrent of power it unleashed upon destruction, if briefly. Due to his awakened spiral power, he should have been immortal, able to warp reality, and be faster than light. Sadly, he never got a chance to show it off. The only male member of the Black siblings, and one of Team Dai Gurren's best, Kittan Bachika is a badass through and through. Brash and loud, yet still surprisingly cunning when he needs to be, this spiral warrior is a prime example of just how strong a human can become. With limitless tenacity, he fought till the very end for what he believed in, cementing himself as a true hero to be remembered for all of time.